Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about all the products I no longer plan on repurchasing, whether I've run into some issues with them or I just simply replace them with better things. We're going to talk all about it, but before we do so, I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Prepare yourself. I feel like there's a few shocking ones in the bunch here. So the first one, which inspired this whole video, are actually the Charlotte Tilbury lip liners. The number one reason why I will no longer be repurchasing these is because they always tend to dry out and they detach themselves from the sides of the pencil. So after a while of having these, the whole pencil will fall out while I'm sharpening it or while I'm applying it, and it's just a pain in the butt. I don't think I've ever been able to finish a full one before the pencil drying out on me. The formula is okay, the colors are beautiful. I find the formula to be a little bit drying around the perimeter of my lips. The perimeter, I don't know why that's a hard word for me to say today, but you know what I mean. But there has been so many better lip liner releases as of late, so these do not stand a chance for me. The next one that I'm no longer putting money into is the COSSIS Concealer. A few years ago, this was the only concealer I wanted to smudge on my face, and I think it was. It was featured in almost all of my videos at the time. I loved it for its consistency the most. It was the first concealer that I've tried that felt like an eye cream. It was very serumy, it was super hydrating, and it just blended right into your under eyes and looked great. But then one day, it just started to smell like gorgonzola cheese. So I repurchased one. A few months go by. It happened again. I got a few more in PR and the same thing would happen. I feel like this concealer just turns on me far too quick before I'm able to finish it. So a lot of it goes to waste. It's a waste of money, and it's a waste of product, and it's a waste of plastic. It just goes straight into the trash can. Also, I've noticed that the undertones don't work for me as well as other brands do. So this is just a product I am going to discontinue use of. This one's still fine though. No gorgonzola here. I think this is the product that's going to be the biggest shocker, but the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. I have not opened this one. I've had it in my collection for a while, but I have not touched it ever since the e.l.f. Power Grips came out. I just go for these ones so much more. I prefer their texture. They're a bit thicker, but they spread on the face so much more gently, and I find that these are even stickier than the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Another thing I really enjoy about the e.l.f. ones is that they feel more hydrating, and I like how they have two options here. While I was on my trip with e.l.f., I asked what the biggest difference between these two were because I was very curious. The original Power Grip is the most similar to this one. It has hyaluronic acid, so it does hydrate your skin a bit more, and this one's good if you have an oilier complexion because it has niacinamide, which helps to brighten. So I prefer the pinky one over the green one just because I get my hydration from my skincare. I don't really need it from my primer, so I prefer this one. It's better for my oilier complexion. These ones are just also much more affordable. This is an old holy grail of mine, but I just have not reached for it in months. This one hurts a little, but the Fenty Beauty Bright Fix Eye Brighteners. I also had a ginormous phase with these. These were used as my concealer for so long, but this one's in here solely because of the packaging, sadly. It didn't bother me in the beginning because I was just so in love with the effect, but yeah, it just didn't bother me until it did. I just have wasted so much of this product. You just can't predict how much product is going to be squeezed out. I thought I was going to be able to get used to how this product dispenses, but sometimes there's an air bubble and it'll just have a little explosion, and then you're stuck there with a bunch of product and you have to waste it. So that's my biggest heartbreak with this, but otherwise this is a beautiful product. It does what is described. It brightens, it corrects, and it also adds a little bit of coverage. But ever since, I don't mean to pit the girls against each other here, but ever since the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener came into my life, I have not thought about these at all. I just prefer this so much more. The applicator is phenomenal. I like how it has this little metal tip. It's very cooling once you put it under your eye, and it also applies the perfect amount for an eye brightener. Not too much, not too little. It just does the most beautiful job. And this one I find does a little bit more for my under eyes. It corrects them a bit further. So I think it has a bit more coverage infused into here. It's just awesome. I use this as my everyday concealer most days, especially on my natural days. If I have to run out of the house, that's one of the first products I grab. Oh my goodness, if past me saw what I was going to say about this product, I would fight myself. This is the Glossier Skin Tint. I used to defend this product with everything I had. I was a Glossier girl through and through. My everyday look consisted of so many Glossier products, and I think it was because this was very different than what was in style at the time, and I liked the stark contrast between like the very heavy Instagram makeup style and the no makeup style. I just never felt or used any product like this. I loved how dewy it was. It was the perfect amount of coverage for what I was wanting back then. It was just really easy and quick to apply. I could just apply it with my fingertips or a brush and I'd be good to go. I wouldn't have to worry about it being streaky, or I wouldn't have to worry about it looking like a mask, or I wouldn't have to worry about it picking up on any texture. It was just very easy peasy. Easy peasy. But as we all know, there has been so many beautiful skin tint launches since this came out, and I feel like a lot of them evolved off of this one, and I feel like there's just some more complex skin tints out there that are just so much nicer and that offer you a little bit more, whether you can build them up or that they have a finish that's easier to wear on the daily, especially if you have different skin types. This is not the best for oily skin. It's a bit too dewy for you. I just prefer those skin tints that have adjustable coverage levels, just like the MAC Face and Body. All my love for this one has been absorbed by the MAC Face and Body. It just has every quality of this, but way better. I still use this time to time, but it's always mixed into other fuller coverage foundations to make them a bit sheerer and more dewy. I never ever just wear this on its own. The next one I'm not going to be pouring money into is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I loved it in the beginning, but there has since been better, balmier bronzers, I guess, that have launched, and I actually prefer the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Bronzer far better than this one. I find that this texture, just because it kind of sets to this powdery feel, it can tend to look patchy when you're applying it, and it can look a little bit sheer, so when you build it up, like the first layer will already be dried, so then you're just adding another one and it just clumps together and does not look very smooth. So that's why I'm not going to be using this one anymore. I love the luminous version though, because it is super smooth and it has kind of a dewier finish to it, but not in texture. I feel like it just applies a lot more even than this one does. This is another case of bad packaging in my eyes. This is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. The stuff in here is amazing stuff, don't get me wrong, but the packaging just makes me never want to reach for it. It's just so messy and I feel like I waste so much again. It just needs to have a pump. This dropper business just does not make sense at all for me. It just does not look very nice. Like there's just no reason for it. It's not liquidy enough to be like a dropper product in my eyes. I feel like a pump would just make so much more sense. And I know I could probably pop on a pump, but I just want it to come with it already, you know? And every time I look at this at the store, the price increases and increases and increases, and I feel like it never stops. I believe in Canada, this costs almost $30, I believe, and it's just not worth it. I'd rather put a little bit more money into a product that has a pump and that's not going to be as messy and as wasteful. This next one, again, I feel like past me would go to war with present me on, okay? This is the Dior Lip Glow Oil. I still completely love this, okay? I use it often. My favorite shade is still Rosewood after all of these years. This is a stunning product, but there has been so many wonderful releases as of late that are just identical. The ones that immediately come to mind are the NYX Fat Lip Drip Oils. These are amazing, if not better in my eyes actually, because this is a common complaint I've made in the past with the Dior ones. Aside from the shade Rosewood and Mahogany, I found them to be a little bit of a ripoff because they look like they're going to be tinted, but they have zero pigment at all. They'll just look like a clear gloss once they're applied, but the NYX ones here have a good amount of pigment. I'll quickly open the Dior just so you can see how similar they are. They both have the really fat applicator, exact same texture too. It has that kind of thicker feel, so it stays on your lips and it's not like a actual oil, so it's not going to seep through your makeup and such. It's going to stay right there. I just think if it came between these, I would always repurchase the NYX ones, and not only are they just more affordable, they're just better all around. And the last thing I have on my list here are high-end lip balms. In general, I completely replaced all of my fancy lip balms here. I just pulled a few from my collection. I have a ton everywhere in my house. These all have been replaced by the Lensin O Nipple Cream. This is the best stuff. This stuff just repairs my lips overnight. And I love how it kind of has a glossy glow. Before I applied this here, I was wearing this with my blush stamped into it, just so that I had a monochromatic look. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, but that's what I did. This stuff is just so much better and it's so simple. It's pure lanolin, which is in pretty much all lip balms. That's the really healing ingredient. That's what Bite Beauty took out of their original lip mask. That's what made it so amazing and so healing. It's this. And you get a ginormous tube of this. This is still my first one and I bring this everywhere I go. I honestly should put it on a little keychain so I can wear it around my wrist. It's either in my purse, in my pocket. It's on me at all times. But yeah, this is incredible. I've raved about it for a very long time, but I'm not done. And I won't be done after this either. It's so much more soothing and smoothing, and it just provides a lot of relief, especially in the winter time. And I also don't limit this on my lips. I also use it like on my elbows or wherever I'm feeling really dry. It's a true miracle. And I'm sure one day I'll use it on my nips too. And those are all of the products I'm no longer going to be repurchasing. Let me know if you have one that comes to your mind. Oh, and also let me know if you'd like to see the opposite of this video. Products I would always repurchase. That might be interesting. That would get my gears going. But that's going to be it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.